You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, you're listening to episode 83 of Cards to the Moon. My name is Clark from 5 Card Guys on Instagram, and co-hosting with me as always is Hyung of Integrity Sports Cards and John, who is Trade You at Recess. So off the top, just to let our listeners know, we usually record 1 week before we publish the episode, so sometimes we miss some very timely news by the time our show airs. And one of those news items that came out after last week's episode is the whole 2022 Topps Chrome Baseball short print debacle. So for those who haven't heard the news, the checklist for that set had 5 short print rookie cards, which included Julio Rodriguez, Bobby Witt Jr., Spencer Torkelson, CJ Abrams, and Hunter Green. But then there was speculation after the release of the Chrome hobby and jumbo boxes that the short prints never made it into the set. The speculation came when nobody was hitting them, break after break. And unfortunately, it was true because Topps eventually sent out a release confirming their error. Now, their solution is to send a special 2-card silver pack with a chance for collectors to hit this short print cards, but you would have to have bought the Chrome box directly from Topps or get them from your local hobby shop, theoretically by showing your receipt. So logistically, it sounds like a nightmare, but yeah, what are your thoughts when you first heard that this was taking place?
I'm sure there's going to be some honest people, you know, 'cause
Right.
oh man, what a mess. We were just we're hyping it up last week because we were excited. Because Topps Chromes are our jam, you know, like that's what we look forward to every year, and probably the most important aspects of them, because the Chrome autos were like impossible to hit between the good ones, the good ones, and so it was like the SPs that people were looking forward to. At least it's a chase, right? So to have those, I don't know about the solution. I don't know if that's the right solution. I would have just said put it in the Chrome update product, you know, but I mean, silver pack. I just think they're like, there's so many people that like bought. I guess if they're not buying directly from Topps or something, or they're doing like how are you gonna handle breaks? How are you gonna handle all these middlemen people?
Exactly.
Right, yeah. And you're relying on the honesty of kind of like the dealers and and whatnot. So
the hobby shop owners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a debacle is the right word.
True.
Disappointed though, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, how would you feel if we had paid $500 here in Canada?
Oh man, that's insane. Yeah. On top of that, while we're at it, like stuff like Julio Rodriguez being like a horizontal card, and the uniform number is not even his right number. Apparently it's a photo.
That's right. I heard about that.
I think it's from the Olympics, but people say it's his minor league jersey number. That's why it's like a different number. It's like 80 something.
It's a Photoshop.
But like little stuff like that, it's like, Topps has to clean it up regardless. Like those are the little details that I think the hobbyists like. They look for stuff like that, right? So definitely disappointing with everything Topps Chrome related within a week. That excitement just literally, just died down. So
true.
Yeah,
John.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with even with the whole image thing. Is while we're on it, same with Panini too, right? Like Scotty Barnes' Prism card. I don't know if people know, but that's the same image of a photo from his college days. I think they actually used that stock image in one of their college Prism products, which is ridiculous. I don't know what is going on that they would use images that old. I don't know. Maybe this must have, probably the print of this must have been in the works for, 1 or 2 years or something, and it finally kind of caught up. But man, what a mess. I don't even know. Like, people who bought from hobby shops or people who bought like, secondhand off of eBay, they're not going to get, they're not going to be, the redemptions aren't coming to them for sure. And then for folks that, what's even worse is people who went all in, right? This is a big year. We're talking like Wander, Julio, Chrome, like massive year for Chrome. And I'm sure there are people who bought cases and cases of this stuff at retail and or more than retail with the thought process of holding it or selling it at a big profit, right? And from what I understand, box prices have been going down pretty fast because of this news. So there's a lot of people who went in early on this stuff, lost a lot of money. You're not going to be able to recoup that. I'm sure even hobby stores, they probably had to maybe double up on their stock and pay non-retail prices to get stock in right away. And then prices are going down, so they're losing money. Regardless of silver packs or not, they're losing a lot of money. So it's just a massive, massive mistake. I never would have thought a company like Topps would make this kind of a mistake, but we've been seeing this a lot, right? I don't know what it is. Yeah. COVID, logistics.
They did that to Kellenic too last year. His SP, in Chrome.
Oh, really?
But it was just him. But all five big names are affected here. Yes, right. Just what the heck.
That's bad. Yeah.
It just seems like every release, like it feels rushed. I don't know why. Like they just.
Do you guys think that like that? What I talked about, like that Julio, like the jersey. You think that actually will affect his long-term price for him? Because obviously his prices are ridiculous. Those autos right now, right. Because I mean, whoever pulls them, people are asking for ridiculous amounts. But I think long-term, like these are the things that kind of like make it less appeal from a hobby perspective. Kind of one of the cards that like reminds me of it is that the Acuna Sapphire auto. Like he's same thing, minor league jersey number, but it was a Sapphire auto. It wasn't his real like jersey. It was a horizontal image, and then that card was never desired as an Acuna collector. That was kind of like at the bottom of the list, right? So I'm thinking that like this might, like for the J-Rod collectors at least, because obviously the 2019 Bowman is his card to get, and then this was the anticipation of his rookie auto, but his rookie auto isn't that great, right? So
right. I was gonna ask if the Acuna card was desired. I guess it isn't.
It not as much, yeah. Like that's a Sapphire auto too. It's the auto version of, I guess, what everybody chases with the bat down image, but it's a horizontal image where he's like wearing number 72 or some high number. If you're wearing a high number and you're in the minors, you're on the far field.
Is that the only card with that? Because, the contrarian play is like, if it's cheap enough, you buy it. And same thing with J-Rod, this, whenever it comes out, you get it. And then you start pumping it up as an error card.
I don't think people are going to buy that, Clark, but,
Hey, if this platform becomes big enough, this podcast here, I'm only going to be talking about those two cards. Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's a big mess. I mean, there's no perfect solution in this case, right? Like if you put in the Chrome update, which is a good solution too for some collectors, you don't, you're going to get people that are pissed off that bought in early. Like what do they do, right? And so you're not going to make everyone happy. So the other argument is that they're short printed. So like the chances of you getting one was probably low anyway. But still, you want to have the opportunity, right? Like if you're paying a certain price for it.
But the question is, how short printed? Because Topps could say it's short printed with a print run of 10,000, right? And then it's not really a short print, right? Because they did that with the Vladdy NNO. They called it a short print, but there's many thousands out there.
Right? It's like, why are all these silver packs comes with these short print cards? All right, we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully, when Fanatics takes over, I don't know what the leadership structure is going to be. Like if it's the same people, I'm sure there'll be some changes. But, you can only hope that this stuff will never happen again. All right, with that, let's move on now to hobby headlines. So unfortunately, guys, we're still in this bear market, but we always say there are plays to be had. One of those plays is knowing when to sell even when most card values are going down, just so you can have cash to reinvest or buy other cards that are also at all-time lows, which might actually have a better chance of seeing a profit in the near future. And sometimes you just have to hold your current cards and hope for the best instead of selling everything too quickly at a loss only to see prices rebound later. So I thought I would lay out a few scenarios for you guys, and I want you to give me your opinion on what you would do for each scenario and why. And of course, this isn't financial advice, just our opinions on what we would do personally. And feel free to agree or disagree with anything we say. We welcome feedback anytime. Okay, so first scenario. What do you do with the cards you bought, more specifically junk slabs that you bought at the height of the hobby, when hobby was booming 2 years ago, all those junk slabs that you have? I know a lot of us are in that position. What are you doing with that?
Oh man, they're just chilling right now. They haven't seen any light in a while, actually.
Right.
But I got to actually sell a bunch. A lot of my junk stuff. I still have a lot of stuff, but like for instance, I have those Vladdy NNO PSA 9s. That I think I bought for $30 at the time, which wasn't bad. I should have sold when they were like 90. I just didn't have time. But like stuff like that, I'm actually okay with holding, because for me it's like long term. I think eventually you look at the history of cards, you could kind of extrapolate the data, right? So I think they're going to be, I don't know what they are today. I might get $30 for them, so I could either cash out or just hold on to them and kind of root for Vladdy or root for those players that I have. Other than that, if there's also like things you could do, like just liquidate them and then put it into like bigger cards, right? Just keep on repeating the process. And I know like it's tough to sell junk slabs these days, but another good idea is like if you have a good enough following, do like a mystery packs, right? And put in a couple big hits and take all your junk cards, those are your common cards, and do a mystery pack with your like community if you're on Facebook or whatever. I see some successful ones. I see some not so successful ones, but it helps with the credibility if you have a little bit of credibility. And we talked about that before with like the social media platforms. That's why it's kind of like good to always, be active in that sense, because when you have to do stuff like this, it makes it a lot easier, right? So that's what I would do probably.
Okay, that's good points.
I think I would be selling it all. Anything that you have that is ultra modern junk slab, I would probably just get rid of it all at whatever price I can get it for right now. And the reason I say that is I was going to mention this a bit when we're talking about Topps Chrome's debacle on short print. As big of a mistake as that is, I think in the future of the hobby, what's going to affect Topps and Panini and Fanatics moving forward is this whole concept of making such like a bigger checklist, so you can see Topps Chrome this year. There are new parallels. There are tons and tons of vet autos and stuff to kind of fill in the gaps. Because why did they do that? Because they increased the print run of the base, so they need to kind of fill in all the hits. So not only are you increasing the print run because you want to make a lot of money by selling a lot of product, you're also increasing the retail price. So you're like doubly down. And hobbyists, everyone's savvy in this now. You can clearly see the greed side of it more so than kind of giving back to the hobby. So I think moving forward, that's going to be the big concern. Like Fanatics needs to really pay attention to the hobby here. We're not that stupid in following aimlessly and just paying prices up the wall. So I think
some of us.
Yeah. So for me, the reason why I'm mentioning this stuff because I'm starting to get really concerned about ultra modern, and if you own Ultra Modern and, like a Tyler Hero Panini certified or like any of those sort of non-prism, non-numbered junk slabs, if it's a PSA 10, especially if it's a PSA 9 or an 8, even if some of those cards are worth $30 and you can get $10 for it, I would probably just get rid of it all because you're losing a lot of money on it. But as we move forward in this sort of like quote unquote junk slab, ultra modern, and the whole ultra modern scene starts to get worse and worse or starts to deteriorate, I just think it's going to be harder and harder for you to see a rebound in those cards. So Tyler Hero might become a 5-time All-Star, but you're sitting on a Panini certified or like a Panini Chronicles card that's worth $10 in a PSA 10. What are the odds of it going to $50? I think that climb is going to be so much tougher to see you get incremental profits than taking that $10 or taking that $100 and putting into something else, maybe vintage or something else. So if you're in this for the flip game, if you're in this for long term, or if this is an investment thing, for me, I think I would get rid of it all and try to use that money and put it into something that is not ultra modern, because ultra modern is, to be honest, it's starting to scare me a bit.
I agree, man. I'm going to side with Johnny on this one. I'm selling it all. Or, I think you mentioned it briefly, Hyung. I'm going to give it away. Just build up my cred as a 5-card guys. Like, dude, everyone likes free stuff, even if it's $10, right?
Well, Halloween's coming up, so I was thinking of making baggies for the...
There you go. There you go.
Trick or treat. You just giving away slabs for trick or treat.
All these kids are like, I want a chocolate bar, man.
But there are cycles too where I think you could take advantage of the market, because, for instance, like I think baseball's gonna keep on going down. So like that's where you might want to unload, where, basketball season, you might have, a guy that might go off and, trigger the emotional people, right? And then they start buying it and you sell it to them at the right time. So it's like, liquidating is definitely the game. And I think it's just, you could play it smart. It doesn't have to be the dump right off the bat. You could kind of say, okay, within the next 6 months, like, I'm going to try to get some football hype. I'm going to try to get some basketball hype. Definitely buying baseball, not selling baseball. And I think it has a lot more to kind of go down. So I think the timing of the markets are kind of getting back into play. Before COVID or during COVID, we kind of didn't have that cycle of kind of like seasons that we were talking about. I think it's coming back into play because of the correction, obviously, right? So
yeah, I agree with that.
No, great point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good one, guys. Okay, second scenario. You bought a stud player in a down year. So let's say Juan Soto, for example. We love Juan Soto, but since the trade from Washington to San Diego, if you haven't been paying attention, I think the latest that I saw was since the end of August to right now, he's batting like less than 150. Very
tough one. Yeah.
Pretty bad.
Not typical for Juan Soto. He bought high, or when the market was a bit hotter, but his prices obviously have been decreasing because he just hasn't been playing well. What are you doing in this case?
Double down.
Yeah.
I don't mind double downing on guys like Soto. At the end of the day, I still believe in him as a player long term. So if it's a guy like Soto, I'd double down. If it's, it all depends on the player, I think, because it's ultimately, do I want to go and ride or die with this guy pretty much, for the next, long term, right? So there's only a few guys that I would actually, consider that. But in this case, I like guys like Juan. So I think, he's still young. He's 23 years old. He has a World Series title. He has an MVP. He has a batting title. We all know what we were doing when we were 23 years old. We weren't winning batting titles. So it's like, everybody has a down year. Baseball's tough. I always say it. Baseball's not an easy game. So if you believe in like generational talent, then I don't mind doubling down or even like waiting. Like I said, the baseball market's slowing down. Soto's prices are even going to probably go lower, right? And then there might be a little hype in spring training again, right? So it's like, I think you could probably get his price for pretty cheap this off season. So I think if you bought in Soto expensive, a good way to kind of recoup some of that money is investing a little more in him.
Sure. I was going to make this a whole segment, but I didn't know how long it would take because I think we're all big Soto fans and we would have said the same thing about doubling down. So yeah, I just put this in this scenario. Yeah. But before we go to John, how about Acuna? Also the same kind of story.
Man, you know my thing with knees, man. I have a traumatic knee history. I still suffer from it to this day, and it literally, I don't know, man. Acuna's knee did not look good, and he had even admitted it.
He did, yeah.
The last couple weeks of August, I think it started bothering him, and he's definitely not the same, and his numbers show. So for me, I'm just very cautious because Acuna was very, very high. He was one of those A-type players, the Lucas, the Sotos, the Tatis, these guys that have extreme volatility. So yeah, if it goes down enough where, it's reasonable, I think I still like Acuna, but his prices were so high, so it's it has a lot to come down, I think.
Fair. Right. Okay.
To that point, baseball has a bunch of hobby darlings that you could classify as a double down, right? Because I think Aaron Judge, and to a lesser degree, Pujols has kind of taken all of the spotlight. Yeah. And to be fair, there wasn't too much spotlight to be taken because the hobby darlings haven't really been performing. But we're talking Soto, Tatis is in the mix.
Tatis, yeah,
because of some dumb decisions, but he's in the mix. Acuna because of his injury. Vladdy, bit of a down year. So you could, in theory, say that these are all double down candidates, and it's really up to, your research, your belief in the player, and if you're a fan, right? So I think those all kind of factor in whether you're going to double down. But baseball has a ton of double down candidates, probably more so than a lot of other sports, which is interesting to view right now.
Yep, good point. Yeah, of course it depends on the player, but if we're talking about stud players that we've always believed in, a small sample size won't deter me from just unloading their stuff, or won't force me to unload their stuff.
Zion looks good, just putting it out there.
Oh man, it's a trap. I've been burned. I guess I have my own personal bias. But you know what? With Zion, speaking of Zion, his prices are already coming up. So there's no good opportunity to buy low. But
right. I mean, if you have a blue chip, going further on this, if you have a blue chip player, whether it's Soto, or we're even talking legacy goats, we're talking LeBron and a Jordan card or Kobe or whatnot. In a down market, I mean, the general consensus to me is hold, right? If you have a big card like that, that moves with the market, you hold, right? So it's the same thing. Think of it as kind of like real estate, like your house, right? In a down market, 100%. As the markets, are you going to just bail out and sell your house and be homeless? No, you're not. You're going to hold because you believe that it's going to turn itself around. I mean, some people, don't get me wrong, some people do sell and they rent and they hold the cash, right? So, I mean, obviously there is that, but it really depends on your belief in sports cards in general as a hobby and investment. And if you believe that it will rebound and this isn't it's going to crash forever and become a nothing, then for players like Soto, like LeBron that have lost some money, like Luka that has lost a lot of people money, I think mainly they're holds until you see the market rebound. And obviously, again, it also depends on your situation, right? If you need the money now, if you can hold and you're okay with money sitting in sports cards, it really depends on your actual life situation. But
for sure,
that's a good point. Yeah,
actually, that's a good segue. You kind of already answered it, so I don't know if you're going to change or have anything to add to this. But the third scenario was, you bought a high-end rare card, right? And for good money, but you're seeing a tremendous double-digit decrease in value along with the rest of the card market, right? So what do you do then? And I think you mentioned you would hold, but at what point, right? When do you start to feel nervous?
Right.
And
right. See, I think when you buy a high-end rare card like that, you would only go in on that if you truly believed in the player, right? So if you're bailing out, let's just say on Mike Trout, you're like, okay, now it really scares me, and you have a really high end Trout, then yeah, I would say, you know what, you might want to cash out, because like for me, we talked about this when the market started turning earlier, like this is months ago. Like I anticipate it getting worse. You know, the interest rates increased again. They announced it today, right? For interest. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna have less and less people spending money, but at the same time, like I said, there's gonna be a point where this is where the people with money are just waiting, right? This is where they cash out of some of the assets ready to buy because they're going to go on sale. So I still believe that we're still approaching that, you know, and we're like 12 to 24 months back then, right? So I think we're still seeing that. So in terms of a high end card though, like I have to see what the pop count is, because for me, I'm just saying, okay, if I can't buy back this card, then it's not worth selling, you know, at this point, right? So unless, again, I like, for instance, I have high-end Tatis, I'm in big dollars with them, so it's like I'm not gonna sell it right now, because I still believe in Tatis's ability, and I believe that once he keeps on playing and doing damage, people are gonna be emotional again, and you know, those are the cards that you can't get back. They're very hard to pull the trigger in the first place. You got to remember, when you buy a high-end rare card, it was very, very difficult to pull the trigger, probably for most people at least, right? So it's like there's a good chance you'll never buy it again, is what I'm saying. So at that point, I think that would be probably because you just don't believe in the player, or you need the cash, right? So if you're in those two situations, I think you have some options. Sure. But yeah.
Yeah, all good points. I guess it depends too, like if you are strictly an investor, you know, when you got into the hobby and you just want to kind of make that quick flip, but then just bad timing right now, of course, you know, and you know, if you had the funds and you bought something high end, obviously you're probably a big risk taker anyways at that point, and you're trying to make a quick flip. If that was your mentality going in, and you're not like, you know, you wouldn't call yourself a collector, I would think about selling now. Like that's one case where I would, because, you know, I would think that the market still has room to go down, and you know, maybe I want to research a little bit and buy another card also considered high end, but those prices are much lower as well. So as an investor, I'm always looking for those opportunities anyway, and I'm not attached to the card at all. But yeah, like you guys said, if I was a collector, I bought these high-end cards, it took me a while to pull the trigger. Yeah, it's kind of in a vault anyways, right? And I'm just waiting it out. And I did say if it was a rare card, so like you don't expect it to just completely drop in value because, you know, because it is rare.
Yeah.
It's not like exactly. All right, those were my 3 scenarios. Hopefully people are, you know, less nervous about the market. I don't know. With all this advice.
Yeah, I don't think we were positive about the market, but it is a good buying opportunity, right? Like that's the good part about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, you know, Hyung's right. Like life is about to get real for a lot of people in the next couple of months. So when life becomes real, obviously things like investment become, you know, it'll get put to the wayside, right? So I think Hyung is right that we're probably going to be seeing a lot more pain in the next little while. And we're not even talking sports cards, we're talking everything. Any investment across the board. If you do have extra money and you're in a situation where you can take advantage, this is where they say the rich get richer, right? They sit on the sidelines and wait till prices become like super sale price.
Absolutely.
And then you kind of go in, right? So I think, you know, one point that I forgot to mention is, you know, when you're buying high-end, to your point about high-end rare cards, you know, like I think for a lot of people, you also have to, I know you can get caught up in the hype and stuff like that, but you also have to know your wheelhouse and your budget, right?
Sure.
So for myself, and I'm not trying to say this to boast that I was like a genius or anything like that, but I was trying to, at one point, you know, I had that Ohtani card I bought for like $300-400, a Sapphire. It went all the way up to 4,500 USD. I love Ohtani. I loved watching him. I was all in. and I always wanted a big Otani card, and boom, there I had it, $4,500 US. But that was clearly the biggest card in my collection at the time, and I thought to myself, this is not my wheelhouse. Like $4,000 or $5,000, I don't buy cards this big. I just got lucky and I have one. But if I am going to have a rare and big card like that, probably shouldn't be in Otani. It should be in something that is a lot more safer, because that is my, if you're going to go into that space, right? So I actually flipped it for the Tiger Woods. And this is something that a lot of people should think about. If buying a J-Rod gold refractor that's $15,000 and you normally buy $2,000 cards, you're over leveraging. Not on top of that, you're holding that risk, right? Like Tatis can go and do PEDs, or Mike Trout can blow both knees. Like there's risk involved, right? So if you're going to go into high-end rare above and beyond what is your area of comfort, I would certainly put it into something like vintage, or something that is very safe. Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, something like that, right? So that's just something to think about. Like, don't go in buying a $10,000 Bobby Witt when you don't play in that space, right? So, yeah.
Good advice. Good general investment advice for sure. All right. Again, we would love to hear from our listeners on what you guys would do. You can always reach out to us on Instagram at Cards to the Moon, all one word. And if you're on Facebook, you can always reach out to our 5 Card Guys page there. I always check the DMs or the messages there as well. So yeah, just curious to see what our listeners and subscribers would do in these scenarios. Okay, let's go on to our next new segment we're calling FOMO Level Check. So we tend I couldn't think of a better name, but we tend to talk a lot about athletes who we like to buy low on, but then there are times when some athletes just start playing lights out, and their card values start to increase even further, and that's when we start to get FOMO, fear of missing out, right? So just for fun, I'm going to name some guys that are currently playing really well, and you guys tell me what your FOMO level is on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being no FOMO at all, and 10 being max FOMO, where you're itching to buy high. Okay? All right, let's start with football, because football's on right now. So we're recording this after week 2. So by this time this airs, we can be dead wrong depending on how they play in week 3, just a caveat. Or we can be totally right. So we'll see. So here's the first football guy, Josh Allen. We talked about Josh Allen in previous episodes. We're saying the hype is too big. He's expensive already. But I mean, if you saw his first 2 games, he's ridiculous. He is the best quarterback in the league right now. Everyone will probably agree to that. So Josh Allen, what's your FOMO level on that?
Man, this one's tough, because I remember we were talking about Josh Allen last year, and his prices were cheap, and we were like, man, it's really cheap, but it's still expensive, right?
Right.
It's still expensive, but then it kept on going up, right? Year after year. Yeah. So it's like, I can't, I'm at a point where it's like, I missed my opportunity with Josh Allen, so it's like, I have probably a 2 or 3 FOMO with Josh Allen. Of course I want him to do well, but it's kind of like, other guys like Otani. It's like, he was so cheap at one point, and now it's like, just can't do it, right? So yeah, I'm it's pretty low for me. I'm not in a rush to buy these volatile people in a bear market.
Yep. Johnny, I think I have a similar mindset as Hyung. I like to think that I tend not to get FOMO a lot, but for the sake of this game that we're playing, I will say I think Josh Allen is a FOMO 10. He is on the highest level of FOMO because you do play in that space because you know that Josh Allen cards are too expensive, so you've missed your chance and you're not gonna really be able to play in it. But at the same time, you're watching a guy that you thought looked all the bit legit last year. He looked like an absolute stud, and he's showing it again this year. And the Bills look unstoppable, Yeah. So I mean, if of all the people on this list, I'm sure Josh Allen would be the FOMO 10 on a scale. The only thing is, though, the thing that's holding fear of missing out is you can't afford it. You can't get any of his cards. So it's like you're not missing out on anything because I can't buy his cards. They're too crazy. So yeah, but he would be on a scale of 1 to 10. He's a 10.
Okay, that's a good point. I feel like we're kind of similar in some sense of how we approach card prices.
Right.
So let's say we have the funds, all right, or
Sure.
let's just play this game, right? Because we would just say FOMO is 1 or 2 because we're not buying in when it's such a ridiculous high point, right? So that's a good point to bring up for sure. I'm gonna say my FOMO level is probably high as well, like 7, 8. Realistically, I would be with Hyung 2 or 3. I missed the boat. Forget about it. I'm on to the next guy. That's how I am really.
Right.
But if I had money to gamble with, like he's up there 8, 9. Like people are talking about the Bills going 17-0. Like the hype is just growing right now, and I'm like buying into every bit of it, like listening to every sports podcast and I'm like, damn, these guys are that good, and you see the highlights, unreal. So yeah, I wish I saw it. I wish I saw the Josh Allen potential and just the Bills, and in 2-3 weeks ago in our podcast, I was scoffing at the Bills being the Super Bowl favorites. I'm like, what? No, so now I'm kind of eating my words already after week 2. So I'm going to say about 8 for me. All right, another QB that's doing really well, a lot of swag. It's not Joe Burrow, who I love. It's Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles. What's your FOMO level at with Jalen?
Man, this is. I was on Jalen Hurts. I did.
Yeah,
just
you did
a year ago, right? Like for me, it's like this year is obviously his year, but like I said, we the last couple episodes in our podcasts, like this is in the middle of football season, and I know, like I don't. Right now is a sell for me, right? Jalen Hurts is a sell because, like, for me, these guys have to keep it up. Just remember they have to keep it up. The moment they don't, and we've seen it all. It's like Brady's Brady, and then Mahomes is Mahomes too. But it's the same story, right? It's like they have to exceed, kind of like Pat Mahomes kind of status to keep up with kind of like the prices. And Jalen Hurts is obviously a lot cheaper, but I mean, of course, if you believe in the Eagles, then yeah, but like for me, it's like I missed on that opportunity, so I can't say I'm like, oh man, I'm missing out on Jalen Hurts right now, especially Hurts. Okay, the Josh Allen, yeah, I could see that because he can be that like Mahomes type kind of hype, but
yeah,
I don't think Jalen Hurts has that type of kind of like chance for his prices to go astronomical. Yeah.
Okay. So low number is a good.
Yeah, I'd say 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep. Low for me too. I mentioned it before. I am of the firm belief in watching football since I was in high school that these great all-time great quarterbacks, they only come out around once in a while, once every 5-10 years, minimum. And right now, the sports card world is treating every single one of these young quarterbacks like they're the next something big, right? So I don't fall for any of this. Like for me, I pick a handful of guys, maybe 1 or 2, 3 max that I think have the potential to be on a level of Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and pick number 1, Patrick Mahomes is on that list. He's already proven it. Pick number 2, Josh Allen is looking like he is about to be on that list. So now it's a super short list. I'm not going to put Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. Like these guys are not going on that list. So because Jalen Hurts is not in that category for me, and I like to collect or put money into those types of players. Zero interest. I'm actually putting my FOMO on Jalen Hurts as a 1.
Wow, 1. That's disrespect. Holy smokes.
No, it has nothing to do with what I think of his skill level.
I get it. Yeah. FOMO level. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. I'm saying it's a 6 or 7, man. I am in on Jalen Hurts. Like
he's drinking that Kool-Aid.
No, come on. Maybe I just see the good highlights, but like his running game is
running game is good. Yeah,
like ridiculous. And I'm going to give him an extra point for like playing with the Eagles. Like that fan base is real diehard fans too, right?
For sure.
I think when you factor that in, and there's a lot of Eagles fans. I'm sure there's a lot of Eagles fans in the hobby. I think that kind of ups his value as well. So yeah, and I like his swag, like I mentioned, Jalen Hurts. That's always good for the game too, just brimming with confidence and just kind of backing it up with how he's playing. So I'm going to say about 7 for me.
I think these numbers can change too as the season goes by, because as they keep on shoving, it's just like, okay,
yeah.
It's a little more. It's going up a bit. It's like, damn it.
It'll be very volatile. That's what I love about football. Week after week, it changes, right? Like depending on each game, essentially. But
Yeah.
True. All right, one more QB. Tua from the Dolphins.
He was my pick that, his prices could go kind of like pretty high if he comes out hot. So his prices were pretty cheap. But I'm going to say all football is going to be in that 3 range for me, because it's just the wrong, like I'm not falling for it. I just can't get myself to buy football in season. It just, like, to me, it makes no sense, because like the way the prices are on some of these guys, I don't believe. Tua, I think there's opportunity. So if there's FOMO, I would give him a little more, like a 3 to 4, because there is that potential. I just think Josh Allen's so expensive. Tua's so cheap, Jalen's so cheap, so you could kind of like roll the dice in that aspect. But yeah, I would say
I get it. Yeah, I get
3
that
to 4 for Tua. I don't see him keeping it up for the whole season.
Whole season.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I'm about to eat my words on what I said about Jalen Hurts. Tua, I have a bit of a soft spot for him in high school. My the team that I chose to follow, unfortunately, was the Dolphins. And
why?
It was really random. I think I was like I was in the 9th grade, getting into football for the first time, and you just had to, everyone had a team. Like my boys at that time. Was like a hardcore Niners fan. Who wasn't? It was all about the Niners back then, or like Green Bay. And I kind of had to start to choose a team. And I had a Dolphins hat that I really liked that I was always wearing. I'm like, I'm picking the Dolphins. So I went with Dan Marino, and it's been, I'm not a hardcore fan or anything, but there hasn't been much to cheer about for the Dolphins since those days. So I've had a soft spot for Tua ever since he came to the league. I thought, what, maybe I'll, like, for fun, throw some money at him, because it is the Dolphins. It is kind of fun. So there is a bit of this sentimental FOMO that I'm having with Tua. I do categorize him as like a Jalen Hurts kind of player. He's not in that Josh Allen where I would really spend some big money on. But Tua, I'll give him some respect, because I have a soft spot. I'm going to put him at a 4 for a FOMO.
Okay.
What a game, though, man! That was insane.
All of it happened in the second half, right? Like most of it.
Yeah. I saw the score, and they were down by like 20 something, and I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Like Tua's like, his card's gonna go down, and he it's nothing. And then by the end of the night, I was looking at TSN, which is like the ESPN Canada. And
6 touchdowns.
I see the score. I was like,
Crazy.
what? That's insane.
So I love about sports. You never know. You never know until the very end.
Yeah.
I'm not a Tua believer. I guess your personal bias got in the way, Johnny. But
for sure.
But I'm not, like, I feel like that was an incredible game. This game in week 2. But if this is a selling opportunity for me. So I'm not FOMOing in on Tua. He's got 2 of the fastest receivers. I'm sure that helps a lot.
Oh yeah.
But play a team that can really run their blitzes like hard, like that might be more problematic for Tua. I think we have yet to see a game like that with the Dolphins. So I'm selling Tua. My FOMO level is pretty much at a 1 or 2. So personal preference, I guess. All right, let's shift gears to baseball, the only other major sport that's on right now. Aaron Judge hit 60 homers as of this recording. I just checked this score line. The Yankees won 14-2, and Judge didn't hit a home run, surprisingly. I was like, one more to tie the AL record, to tie Maris's record.
His numbers are ridiculous, and he's a guy that I would say, the FOMO level's high, and
triple crown potentially.
Right. It's one of those things where we've we've had every opportunity to buy Aaron Judge at such a cheap price. Now his prices are astronomical. It's like, but even then, I'm like, you know what? Like, I still think there's some cards, like right now they're on blowout, even though it's his, it's a 2017 Chrome gold refractor. I think it's a PSA 10 out of 50. It's a all-star game though, so it's not his like true rookie, but still. I mean, the guy was selling for like $900 or best offer, right?
Wow,
so there's,
that's a good deal,
to me, a gold refractor rookie, like it's still like there's still good opportunities out there. So like I would say my FOMO level is still pretty high with Aaron Judge because this was kind of his make or break year for me, like because he's getting older. But if he does this for the next couple years, I mean, like he's in talks of doing some serious damage in terms of numbers, like catching up because he started a little late in his career, right? So like for me, I've been looking at a lot of Aaron Judge actually, so I would say it's about a 7 to 8 right now for me.
Okay,
Clarky is loving all of this. He's just soaking it in.
Can't wait.
You gonna sell your refractor or what?
I'll go now. Yeah. Like, remember? I don't know if you remember, John, but at the last card show in June when I actually made that trade for Aaron Judge, I'm like, hey, I believe there's an outside shot chance that he's going to go AL MVP if he continues his home run streak. Right. I think he was at like 30 or 29 by the break. Yeah, I'm like, there's a chance, and I remember John's like, yeah, sure. like, hey, I should have recorded that kind of reaction. But anyway, I'm loving it, and I agree with Hyung. I'm looking at like other, like not the Bowman Chrome, but like other nice lower to mid end autograph rookie cards from other sets, like or even like like you said, a Topps Chrome numbered refractor. Like I think there's a chance. So if I didn't have the Bowman Chrome refractor, like my FOMO level would be about 8 or 9 right now. I'm eating it all up. It's like it's must watch TV now. People are watching the Yankees game to see if he's going to hit another home run. Like it's kind of fun to watch the Yankees game. Yeah. And I can't believe I'm saying that as a Jays fan, but yeah, it's fun to watch. Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah, I talked about Aaron Judge last week. I still reserve my feelings, but I'll give him respect. I'm gonna put FOMO on level 8. He deserves it, man. He's doing some special things.
Nice. All right, one more. Again, in baseball, the heavy favorite to win American League Rookie of the Year, J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. What's your FOMO level on him?
Oh man, I'm actually not that.
Really?
I mean,
okay.
He had a pretty good season, like amazing season as a 21-year-old, like ridiculous. His WAR was very respectable, and I think he has a very bright future. But I just think his prices are so expensive to start off because, you know, his Bowman Chrome, his first auto basically came in right before the craziness of the hobby with Wander Franco. So he was in the same class as Wander Franco. And, you know, like you got, like we said, it's like it was astronomical at the peak of the hobby, right? So it's like, I still think he's part of that play, whereas Aaron Judge, he was the complete opposite, right? So there's two corrections going in two separate ways. So for me, it's like it's not that I don't believe in Julio. I think in the off season there's going to be opportunity, and even like next year if he doesn't come out like hot, look at what happens to Soto, Tatis, all these other superstars when they don't keep up with kind of like their expectation, right? And then Julio's expectation as a 22-year-old, you know how we are. We're like, yeah, he's going to win AL MVP next year. He's going to hit 330 with 40 home runs, 140 RBIs. He can steal 90 bags or, you know, have these ridiculous expectations. And then he hits 280 with 30 and steals 30 bags, goes 30-30. And we're just like, oh, you know, like, you know, the prices aren't moving. Right, because it's just continually just tumbles, right? So, like for me, Julio's about a 5. I love Julio though. Like I have a big Julio card too. So like for me, it's like I just kind of like just wait and see. Kind of, I'm not gonna buy FOMO, but I'm definitely not selling either. So,
yeah, fair.
I'm not in the fortunate situation of owning a nice Julio like Hyung has. I do not own any Julio. So am I FOMOing on Julio? I am FOMOing on Julio. I would love to own something, but again, kind of like Josh Allen, he's just so expensive. Obviously, the hype of Julio has simmered a bit. This is sort of that mid to late season lull, which certainly helps. But I'm gonna put Julio at a 7. I am FOMOing. It's not like Josh Allen because Josh Allen's hot right now, but yeah, it's still up there. I would love to get one of his cards one day.
Yeah,
I was really hoping it was gonna be Topps Chrome, but thank you, Topps.
Right. Thanks, Topps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna say my FOMO level's at a 6, because I hear your argument with like guys that can repeat what they did in the rookie year. You know, like when Kyle Lewis won Rookie of the Year, when Jonathan India won Rookie of the Year, I was like, whatever. Like they had a good season, but I just didn't have any confidence that they would do that again. And look, I was right. You know, there's some injuries, of course, with Kyle, but but what makes Julio Rodriguez different for me is like he had the pedigree. He showed what he could do. You know, like there was a lot of expectation on J-Rod going in, and he more than met them in this year. Like I just looked at his stats, 27 homers, 25 steals, pretty much a 30-30 guy with a couple weeks left in his rookie season. And I feel confident that he could maintain those numbers. Maybe he won't beat him, but like he could be, or he could even take a next step up, be that 30-30, definite 30-30 player. And I think if he does that for a few seasons, like he'll be, you have to categorize him in the upper tier of baseball players at that point, kind of like inching towards, you know, the guys we like, Tatis, Acuna, Soto, you know what I mean? Like, right. You know, maybe half a step down from them. And so I believe in his talent moving forward, more than guys like former Rookie of the Years, like the guys I just mentioned. So I looked at his price, Bowman Chrome, Prospect Auto, PSA 10. It's going for about $2,200 right now. So yeah, it is high for a guy that played less than one season of MLB. But if it goes down a little bit further, then, you know, I think there's a buying opportunity there. All right. Good segment. We'll try to do it again in a future episode with guys that play amazing, and we'll do another FOMO level check then. All right, let's end off this episode with our regular weekly segment we call Pick One. And if you're a first-time listener, this is when the three of us come up with two guys, two players, two cards, and then we debate which one we would rather invest in. All right, so as usual, we're going to ask Hyung to start things off.
All right, we're going to go to basketball because I came up upon like a couple listings. Guy was unloading Luka. And what caught my eye was he had a courtside silver PSA 10, and basically he listed it for like $10K or something like that. But the last sold was actually $8,800. So I was like, whoa, these things like literally tumbled. I remember when this thing was like $28K or $25K at one point. Right. And he was also selling the base, which we always talked about, the courtside base. How it's short printed at the end of the day, and it's I think it's one of Luka's best cards. So I always thought, hey, if it ever goes under 1,000, I think that's a good buying opportunity. But I believe the base, not the silver, the base courtside PSA 10 has gone under. It was like $990, but then the last sale like went back up. So it's floating between like 1,100 and 1,300 now. $990. So yeah, somebody got a deal, but you never know. Like look at Trae Young's court sides; these tumbled and keep on tumbling. But I know you can't compare Luka with Trae. But would you rather the Panini Select Courtside Luka PSA 10 base, so for 1,100 to 1,300, that's the price range, or would you invest in a 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron James PSA 9? For 2,100, would you pay the extra money for the PSA 9 Chrome of a LeBron James, or would you go for the courtside base 10?
Ooh. Do you guys happen to know the pop count on the LeBron?
I just checked it right now. I just checked the base PSA 9.
Base PSA 9.
Yeah, the base PSA 9 Topps Chrome, his rookie, his pop count is 3,540.
All right.
3,500.
And the Luka base courtside is 227.
Oh, that's
PSA 10.
higher than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys know how I feel about Luka. You guys know how I feel about LeBron.
This is an easy one for John.
Yeah, for sure. I already know.
You know what? I am gonna go against my personal biases, and I'm going to heed my own advice about the bear market and where we spend our money. I'm actually gonna go away from ultra modern. And although it's a PSA 9, I'm not, in a recovery market, I would certainly prefer PSA 10s all the way. I don't like to touch PSA 9s. But LeBron has cemented his legacy. He's a GOAT. I certainly disrespect him, but I'm not going to deny his legendary status and his place in the game. It's Topps Chrome. Yeah, it is a base. Yeah, it is PSA 9. But we're in a bear market, and as we go into the recovery, it's cards like LeBron's that are going to move well. And the Luka has potential, but it's ultra modern, and it's select. The freaking Panini and select. I can't. Still so mad that Panini just screwed up select because
we used to love select. We used to love select.
I was such a fan of select. So much potential, looked pretty. And it just got screwed over. So I don't know where select is going to sit in the sports card atmosphere going forward. So all of that doubt really plays with my mind. So because of that, for me, I'm going with LeBron.
Wow. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. I'm going with Luka all the way. I like the... Wow, we're flipped. It was like Freaky Friday here, eh?
Know,
we just...
Right?
For the reasons for the reasons you mentioned, it's a PSA 9, it's a base card. I don't care if it's in a bear market. I think it's
Good point.
LeBron James, if it was a PSA 10, of course it costs way more. That would have been a different story, but I don't see the rebound happening as much for PSA 9s. Like I mentioned in a previous episode, I'm unloading all my PSA 9s, or at least upgrading to a PSA 10, like you did with my Trae Young Silver Prism, right? So yeah, for that reason, and plus, I hear you about Panini Select. I'm with you 100% on how we feel about Select. I think we're all in the same boat, but I'm gonna give the 2018 year a mulligan. I think that year is a little bit different, and I think people will see that year as different. That's my belief. And the pop count's low, and it's a PSA 10. And I believe in Luka. I think he's going to be that generational talent. I think he's going to have a full career. And I'm going to look back and say, damn, I should have bought more Luka. So, I'm telling myself right now, I need to buy more Luka before it's too late. Yeah. So base court side, short printed. I love that. So I'm going with Luka in this case.
Wow. So just to put it out there, what's LeBron Chrome PSA 10 selling for? $8,000? It didn't go under really 8, I think, or maybe
last sold for 8,274, but it did go under. It went for just above 7,000, in July.
In July, eh?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So PSA 9 at 2,100, you're talking, that's 25% of that price. So I think PSA 9s are undervalued in general, but that's probably because of the pop count base. There's 3,500.
3,500.
It can't sustain that. If there was a little more rarity, that thing should be worth 5,000 plus, right? Or not, maybe not that much, but at least 50%, right? So I think there is opportunity, but again, it's the pop count and the polarizing. I guess you either love LeBron or you hate him. It's literally split down the middle, but there's no denying that he is what he's accomplished when it's all said and done. We're going to look back and we're going to be like, this guy is tremendous, and he's going to still put up numbers. So there's that. But like I said, and I think Clark, you hit it where 2018 does get a mulligan. I would even put 2019. I think 2019 was phenomenal for select courtside or select in general, with obviously the courtside being kind of the go-to in the subset. So for me, that's my favorite Luka. the image of his courtside. One of my want on Luka's list was the silver courtside, but like I mean I think it's still too expensive, right? But like that thing was $25K at one point, and now it's down to like 8,000. I think 8,800 was the last sold, but it's such a beautiful card. It has this shine.
Yep.
So it's like just that image itself, I'm a huge fan. So from a investment standpoint, I think Luka has the volatility chance because it's a PSA 10 and it's rare, right? You're talking pop 220. So it's a good opportunity, I think, for his prices to kind of catch up once he does what he's capable of doing, and hopefully, you know, they actually go deep into the playoffs. You know, like I think that's what he needs to kind of like sustain his prices. Right. Otherwise, it's just gonna keep on going down. He needs to win some brass now.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good one. I'm gonna throw this out. Let's kind of. I was just looking at the stats and just quickly, like I like this comp. But if we upped everything, so you're talking about the silver courtside, which did you say was like 10, 11K?
Yeah.
How about that, PSA 10 of that, versus the LeBron refractor PSA 9, which is going for 11K?
Oh, shit.
Wait, LeBron Chrome refractor PSA 9 goes for 11K?
Yeah, pop count 355.
Oh, wow. That seems cheap.
And the PSA 10 is going for 55K. So it's kind of that 20% value, right?
28%. So, same ratio, probably.
Similar with lower pop count.
What's the Luka's silver courtside pop count? That has to be pretty low.
Oh yeah,
that has to be so. Like 50.
Let me check that out.
Luka courtside, yeah, it's probably 70-ish or less.
It is 38.
Oh
yeah,
wow,
that's pretty low.
PSA 10.
Shoot, I'm rolling the dice on this one, boys. I'm going like I gotta have that card. That card is so beautiful. That would be one of the I'm going Luka on that. It's such a beautiful card.
I'm flipping in this case. I'm going LeBron all the way.
Yeah, I love that Luka card, but the LeBron Chrome in a refractor. I think if you have any kind of opportunity to buy that card, I think old Topps Chrome refractors.
Love it.
Shout out Refractor Jones. I think those are the cards that are going to blow up. So it's LeBron James for me.
All right. Impromptu.
That's a good one.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus.
Nice. I like that. I like that impromptu. That was a good one.
All right, Johnny, you're next.
So we're going to move on to the GOAT, Michael Jordan.
Okay.
We're going Jordan 84 star. I think this has been the buzz for the last couple of months. Jordan 84 star BGS 7 versus Jordan 86 Fleer PSA 9. Both of them kind of floating around the 18,000 mark. We're talking big boy space. Which is the better investment?
I'm going to check the pop count just quickly, but
it's pretty low. BGS 7 is probably like under 200
because of the grade, probably, right? Not a lot of BGS 7s.
PSA 9s are they're up there, 2,500.
9 is just 2,900.
There you go.
I'm going for the card instead of the grade. I guess it doesn't matter because I'm picking the Fleer anyway. The grade is better for the Fleer in this case. So I just like the more iconic card in this case, and I guess it's personal preference. I know there's a big debate on which one's the true rookie, but I still think there's still more collectors out there that still say the 86 Fleer is the rookie card, and I guess because of that sentiment, and it's a PSA 9 in this case, low pop count, I don't mind that, so I'm going with the Michael Jordan Fleer 86.
Nice. I normally would probably get the card, the 84 star, but the BGS 7 is just like eating at me. Like I'm assuming that's a white label.
The paper label, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that's an ugly slab. Yeah, for me, I think I think that might play a big factor on it, to be honest. And because the Jordan 86 is such an iconic card, and the PSA 9 is honestly a grail card, because that's the second best card you could pretty much get other than a PSA 10, right? Other than obviously a Gem Mint BGS 9.5, but you're not talking the same price now, right? So, like for me, Gretzky's the same way. The highest grade Gretzky I could possibly afford is one of my goals down the road, and constantly upgrading. Jordan's in the same boat, all these Hank Aaron's in the same boat, like all these iconic, those are the kind of like the end goals for me. So, I'm going to go Jordan 86 Fleer PSA 9. Yeah.
Wow. When I thought of this question, I didn't like the question because I thought it was going to be an easy Jordan Star sweep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
So
Okay.
you guys are surprising me. And now you're starting to doubt whether I'm really going to pick the Star.
All of a sudden, it's the Flair 86 sweep.
Oh man. Well, you know what? The question was better investment. So we're going to try to give people investment advice or our opinion on the investment. 86 Flair PSA 9 would be an all-time grail card for me. There's no question on a personal level that is the card. The BGS 7 Star, I'm generally not a fan. I've never considered that, his rookie card, but I think okay, so there is hype. So it is at 18,000 for a BGS 7, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with all of this chatter about this card that's happened in the last 3 months. So you could say there's a correction coming for it. But at the same time, it is a Jordan. It is what a lot of people consider his true rookie card. I don't think it's his true rookie card. Do I believe that it's his first rookie card, kind of like a Bowman first? Yeah, I'll agree with you there. It's his first rookie card. But there's just such a low pop count that I'm not sure if there is going to be a correction. I feel like because Jordan is a staple, he is like the collectible face in the hobby across all sports. I don't know if this hype is ever going to go down. I feel like this is the type of card, as much as you liked 86 more, investment-wise, I think this is the card that's going to start climbing and going into people's collections and never coming out. And there's, I don't know how many there are in existence, like 2,000, whatever. And when all is said and done, I think a BGS 7 is going to be a pretty good grade. So at 18,000, I think investment-wise, I'm going to go with the Star. I think the pop count is so low across the board that it is a card that's going to continue to climb. That's what I believe. Who knows what will happen, but yeah.
We'll monitor what happens over the years.
Yeah.
Hyung, you can always crack it and just submit it to PSA. Get out of that ugly BGS
Absolutely.
slap.
That's the first thing I would do, right? It's 18K. What's 18K? Like, you're just throwing it around like it's nothing.
By the way, the PSA 7 goes for like 26,000.
Oh, yeah?
So it could be a worthwhile crack. Especially if it's a 7 with good subgrades.
Sure. All right, I like it. Okay, last pick one is for me. On one side, I'm giving you guys Juan Soto, his 2016 Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto, PSA 10, which last sold for just over 3,000. So it's come down from its all-time high. Versus Aaron Judge, his Topps Heritage Real One Auto, just a blue ink, not the red ink, but blue ink. His rookie card, PSA 10 also, sold for $3,000. So similar in price. One's trending upwards, one's trending downwards.
I'm going with the downwards one, Clark, here. Like, for me, the real one, if it was a red ink, yeah, no doubt.
Right.
Like, the numbered one. But, like, for me, I'm surprised. I actually seen that. I think it was maybe on your feed.
Yeah.
You had that ending, and I guess it ended at 3,000. Wow, that's it. No, the Aaron Judge, the real one auto.
Yeah, right.
That's a healthy sale. Like, for
That's
a
a
real
healthy
one
sale.
auto, a very, very healthy sale. So I'm going Bowman Chrome auto with Soto, because for me that was the big card, and it's trending downwards. And I think I don't see the real one auto being able to sustain kind of like that price, because I'm used to real one auto. This is Topps Heritage you're talking about versus Bowman First Chrome. Like, Topps Heritage is like not a great set. the only thing that's great about Topps Heritage is like the refractors kind of. It's a low end set, but if you get the black refractors, they're well desired. The golds are amazing, and then you have your real one autos in blue ink, and then your red ink, right? So it's like the red ink is like, okay, that's big boy territory. That's kind of like the grill of the Topps Heritage.
Right.
So it's like Bowman First Chrome of Juan Soto is a massive card, right? So for me, it's like a PSA 10 of that would be something that I'm comfortable with investing in 100% over the Aaron Judge Real One Auto. So Soto for me.
Okay.
Do you guys know the print runs on Real One Autos in general? Like the base Real One Auto? Like 200-300?
Yeah, I would say somewhere there. So it's not like super, super high, but the number is like it's 70, 71 or something like that. Or it depends on the year, I think, what they're mimicking.
What's the blue ink numbered out of?
It's not.
It's not numbered.
Yeah. Oh, it's not numbered. It's just it's just more SSP short printed than the base, obviously.
Yeah, and it's on card auto. It's like a nice card, but yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, logic here, I think it's an easy one. It's Juan Soto because you're buying low on a guy that everyone believes in versus a guy that you're selling high on. So I think it's an easy pick on the Bowman Chrome, but I can understand and appreciate, Clark, what you're trying to do here, because I do think there is something with Real One Autos. I feel like they have slowly been climbing. The red ink, I mean, Hyung knows this for a while. Red ink has been sort of like a grail for a lot of people, but that's more for the hardcore collectors, like guys like me who came back into it just a couple of years ago. We would never know, like I would have never have known the red ink was anything to do with Grail space if it wasn't for somebody that, like Hyung, that knows the history behind it. But I think Real One is starting to catch on the wider audience. So I think there is something to targeting Real One Autos. I think it has legs. Aaron Judge, he's hot right now, so I'm not going to say go out and buy Aaron Judge because you're buying high. But I think the concept on Real One Autos, I can appreciate where you're going with that, Clark.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is Juan Soto for this particular.
Yep. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm thought of this because I was pitting one that's trending downward and one that's trending upward. But where's the momentum? How far is it gonna go? So for me, I'm actually gonna go with Aaron Judge as a short-term flip. If I'm gonna flip it within a month or two, I think if I get it at 3,000, which was the last sold, there might be a good chance I could sell it at 4,000 if he hit 61, 62 home runs going to the playoffs, right? Whereas I think Juan Soto's PSA 10, I could get it for under 3,000 at this point.
Minus 1,500 for eBay fees, but
private sale. So that was my thinking. So short-term flip, I'm gonna go with Aaron Judge in this case.
That makes sense.
And I chose the Real One Auto, to be honest, for this 1v1 because the price was similar. You know what I mean?
I'm shocked actually. That Real One sell for that high. I would have never thought ever Real Ones would go. And I think what sparked it was Ohtani's.
Right. Yeah.
Because his was going for ridiculous. His red ink was going over 10K, I think.
Yeah. But that card's so
doesn't
sweet,
he
though.
have?
It is such a nice card.
Doesn't he have kanji auto Real Ones? Is it Real One that he has?
I've never seen one.
Japanese autograph.
No. That's Topps Living. He has. I think it's
Exquisite.
it's a very niche. Exquisite has one.
Exquisite.
Yeah. That's a nice card.
Where was it on Slabstock? Someone featured it. Someone's Instagram featured it where it's not known because he only signed 10 of them out of a couple
in Japanese.
In Japanese.
Yeah.
So it's ultra rare, but people don't know about it because
I remember that.
They don't show up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, was it the Real One? Anyways.
The kanji auto, that's a grail card for me too. I would love to have one. But
that's
sky high prices.
For sure.
All right. Thanks again for all our listeners. That wraps up our episode this week. You can always, like we said at the beginning of the show, reach out to us at any time. DM us at our Instagram page. which is at Cards to the Moon, all one word. And you can see all the posts that we put up there of our past guests as well, past interviews with some of our friends in the hobby, and some of our episode recaps as well. So yeah, just find us there, and we'd love to hear from you guys. And if you enjoyed this episode, always we appreciate you giving us 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. All right, that wraps it up. We'll see you again soon. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.